Hello and welcome back to the ministry, and today we are going to be talking about three different topics, and I'm going to break them down into three videos as I always do, but I've come to a sequence in which I want to release them in, and we're going to discuss that now, starting with taking care of yourself. Sometimes as children of God, as we operate in ministry, as we operate in the will of God, sometimes we have the tendency to want to consistently keep moving actively in the midst of what it is that the Lord has shown us that He wants us to do. He gives us a vision and we run in it. He gives us a thing that He desires for us to do, and we want to run into it, and we're like, yes, you gave me the plan, you've given me the course, you've given me the this, you've given me the that, and I'm going to run and create it. And we run and create it, and when we come out of the running and creating it, we like, okay, I rest for a moment, I get my bearings back, ready to run back into it, and God's like, rest. And we're like, what do you mean rest? Rest in what way? What do you mean rest? You finally gave me the answer to the equation that I've been seeking for years. I want to run. And God's like, rest. I need for you to take this time to rest in the things in which I've called for you to do in this season. Rest in me, understanding that I am taking care of you, and that those things will be done in the time frame in which they will need to be done. But I need for you to rest. And we look at it like, excuse me, what you mean rest? What you mean self-care day? What you mean take care of me? What you mean? You have to allow yourself to receive from you. Why is it that we are so uncomfortable that when we get time to take care of self, that we don't know how to? Some of you have jobs, some of you have children, some of you have careers, businesses, things in which you are putting your hands to in this season, and you know that the Lord has blessed you, and it's a balance, and everything is operating in a balance in which you are loving where everything is going, but some of it isn't. And one of two things either happens: either it's operating in the way in which you desire for it to operate, meaning that it's got a good balance to it, and you become subconsciously deathly afraid that if you step back from it, the whole thing's going to collapse without you. So you cannot allow yourself to rest. You have to constantly have your hands in it, constantly doing the social media posts, constantly, and God's like, sit down, let me take care of that for you. Then there's the other side of it, where it's not where you want it to be. It hasn't quite gotten to the level in which you desire it. You're trying to cross over into that level where things become more easier, and things are still hard, things are still frustrating, things are still whatever it is. Why? Because you're doing it in your own strength, and you're not allowing the God that has given it to you to take it over. And you're wondering, why is it that I can't get this thing to work the way that I desire for it to work? Because you're operating without God in it. But God gave it to me, yes, but are you operating in His timing, His time frame, and His will for that thing? Because sometimes what He will do is He will give it to you, He will have you rest, and then He will have you go into a level of warfare to get that thing done, so that you may walk into a level of ease in that thing coming into manifestation. But a lot of times what happens is we plan, we want to run. God's saying, plan, rest, and run. Plan, rest, and run. But my life isn't in order yet. My finances aren't in order yet. This isn't in order yet. That's not in order yet. And because that's not in order yet, I can't rest yet. And God's saying, I got that. Trust me with that. I need for you to rest in this season. I can't tell you, for the last week I've been seeing rest. One day I saw rest videos 3 times a day. And I was like, excuse me? You mean you want me to actually sit down and rest? And I was like, yeah, I need you to rest. Have you ever noticed that if you are a workaholic, the second you get a break from work, you don't know what to do with yourself, and the work is done and you have time to rest, you actually don't rest? Happens to me. Even in the moment of, it was the other week, I was tired. I was exhausted. And I ended up having a moment where I don't live by myself. So when the person that was living in the space with me left, I was like, I'm tired, but I still need to get on camera and do this. Or I still need to mop the floor because somebody's coming tomorrow to do X, Y, and Z around the apartment. So I need to make sure that's done. And because that needs to be done, I need to be able to make sure that that's in order. I was supposed to take that 2 hours and I was supposed to rest. I ended up spending that next 3 hours recording video content and cleaning and mopping the floor and making sure the house was in order. Did I have to do that day? No. Could I have taken my nap and then done it? Yeah. It would have, yeah, I could needed to do the floor while the person was not there, because that way they're not walking all over it. But in getting the house in order and clean, but at the same time, I wasn't taking the time out for myself to rest. And I know when I'm not taking the time out for myself to rest is because when I sit down and I am sitting for any period of time and I conk out sleep, meaning I was sitting there coherently doing something, and the next thing I know I'm waking up, I'm exhausted. I am physically exhausted. Now, sometimes what the Lord will do is when He wants your attention, He will put you into a spiritual slumber where you will be awake and then He will put you to sleep. This happens a lot to me when I'm sitting and I'm listening to my worship music, especially if it's like a specific instrumental or something, and I go into spiritual prayer and I start to pray in tongues and so on and so forth. He will put me to sleep. I will literally be sitting up sleeping. And that's a spiritual sleep. Much like if you go into the Bible, there's a passage in the Bible where I believe it's Apostle Paul is put into a spiritual slumber and he has a vision, because the Lord is trying to speak to you in that moment to give you spiritual understanding of certain things. But sometimes you just be tired. And there are on occasions that it may come from the opposite end, where you're under spiritual warfare and the spirit of Python is trying to encoil you, and you will go into a ungodly form of sleep. And you usually can recognize when it's a demonic spirit that is trying to get you to fall asleep, because when you fall asleep, you'll pass out sleep, same way that you would pass out sleep if the Lord did it. But when you wake up with a headache. You find it extremely hard to wake up. That you can't really come out of that slumber as easily as you would like to. Now, the Lord will put you to sleep and He will hold you in a sleep state when He's trying to do something in your spirit. I recently had an experience like this where the Lord was trying to break something. I had listened to an apostle's message and started to fall asleep when he was in the midst of prayer. As soon as the video ended, I fell into a deep sleep. And when I fell into that deep sleep, I noticed I had a dream. But my body was trying to wake up. But the Lord did not allow me to wake up until the dream was completed. Then I came to full alertness. That's something that the Lord will do as well. But In some cases, you just need rest so that you can take care of yourself. Some of us have the tendency that we are so religiously aligned with the things in which we do that we don't even want to break it for our own desires. You may have a couple extra dollars in the bank and you would rather invest it into your business than do something for yourself. I do that all the time. I would rather sell money into my ministries than to do something for myself. I remember when when the Lord first started to allow me to have a certain amount of money, I remember having gone to the hair store. I went with a friend previously, and I was like, man, I would love to do this to my hair. And she went and got what she wanted, but she didn't do anything for me. But when I got the money, I didn't want to do anything for myself. But I literally felt in my spirit the Lord saying, take the money that you have and buy what you want and do your hair the way that you desire. And I remember I spiritually fought myself all day long. I sold my tithes into the church that day, and then I came out and I was like, Lord, I don't know. And he said, go to the store and get what you want for you. Do it which you desire. Even recently, I decided to change my hair color, which, FYI, this is about to change again, back to the red, that when I went to get that hair for that, I was like, Lord, I don't know. And the Lord was like, go get what you want. And when I tell you, the photos that came out from me doing my hair in red that time, amazing. Amazing. I was like, I love this red. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness. This is a beautiful red. And it worked out to my benefit because I was like, if this is for me to do before I walk in this store, Lord, you're going to have it be a discount. I got a whole pack of hair for $3. I was like, now I know this was Jesus. Because I got a filler pack of braids. And I was like, oh my God, it's the same color that I want. And it's $3. I think it was $3.69. What had happened at the hair store? But I didn't want to do it the first time. And the same thing happened when I first did my hair. It came out amazing with the beads and the pieces and all that kind of stuff. It was amazing. The Lord was working and moving. But sometimes we have to be willing to treat ourselves. You will sit there and you will chastise yourself for wanting to eat a piece of cake because you're going off your diet. For my vegan people, for my people that do the Daniel fasts and all of that kind of stuff, let yourself have cake. Later today, I'm going to eat pie. I made a homemade pie, and that pie tastes so good. And I'm going to enjoy that pie. Let yourself eat and enjoy yourself. Take an hour to take care of yourself. Last weekend, no, it wasn't last weekend, it was weekend before last. My dad had gone out of town, and in the midst of that experience, I took the time to run myself a long bath. I had not done that in God over a year, because I tried to do it last year. And the last time I did, I don't know what kind of spiritual warfare I was under, but I couldn't breathe while I was in that bathtub. Something was spiritually going on with me that I could not literally breathe. It's sitting in that bathtub. I stayed in that bath for less than 10 minutes. But the weekend I decided to do it, it was right after the Lord did a breaking in my spirit of some things. And I came out of that spiritual breaking, and I went and I got in the bathtub and I bathed. I sat and I soaked in the water. And when I tell you, the spiritual cleansing, the physical cleansing, to come out of a bath and to smell that smell of your skin right after you come out of a bath, you know that smell, even before you put the lotion on, of cleanliness. Yes. Because I believe that in itself is a spiritual thing. I used to love to take baths. When I was still staying in New York, about every 2 weeks I would go and I would sit in the bathtub and just bathe and spiritually cleanse myself and go into prayer. And it's like my prayer time. My desire is that when I get married, that I will have a prayer room that will have a master bathroom in it, and I can use that as my spiritual cleansing space, meaning my prayer room for showers. I can take my spiritual shower and pray. Having my bathtub and being able to spend that time in prayer with God and all of that in my sabbatical days. Because we still celebrate Sabbath over here. That I can take that time and do the self-care. Because that was what the Sabbath day was about. It was the day of spiritual rest. That you were supposed to rest in God and relax and take care of self. But why is it so hard for us to receive? Why do we allow pride to take from our own peace, that we won't even allow anyone to give us anything because we feel too proud to receive it? It's a mentality of, I had to do for myself to get here, so I would rather do it myself in order to make sure that it's right, and than to let anyone else help me. And the fact that everyone else calls you selfish, if you take care of you, you end up depleting yourself and having nothing left to give anymore. We have the tendency that when it comes down to us, that we have a hard time of receiving. I remember it was a few years back, I had gotten slightly sick, and it's like I had done a 3-day fast, but something that I ate in amongst that 3-day fast, I had certain stomach issues, that too much ginger, too much pepper, too much of any in particular thing will lay me out, that I won't be able to eat anything, and I will go through certain spiritual warfare. But this particular time, I was so depleted that what ended up happening is I woke up and my stomach was messed up. And the way that, if you do not understand this, your immune system stems from your stomach. And if your stomach starts acting up, like the way that mine was, it felt like somebody had literally removed the lining of my stomach. And that's the way when my stomach starts acting up, it happens. But it doesn't just affect my stomach. I get dizzy spells and all kinds of craziness when I'm under this kind of spiritual attack. And then on top of that, I ended up getting a toothache. I'm like, I should have known that was a bit of a spiritual warfare, more so than anything else. But even in that, I needed to go to the store to get the chicken broth to make the soup to line my stomach the right way. And I remember I was exhausted. And I'm that type of person that anytime I have something wrong with me, I don't ask nobody for nothing. But even then, I have a parent that's kind of like, he's not really one that will automatically do anything for you. But even he could see that it was something wrong with me, that when I got ready to get up to go to the grocery store and I said I was preparing to leave, he didn't let me go. He went himself. And my point for saying that is, sometimes we take care of ourselves to such a degree that we know how to take care of ourselves, that we don't allow anyone else to do it. And that was a miracle of the Lord himself, that he allowed my father to do that, because he's not the type to always do that. He had his few little complaints, which is his character, but the Lord allowed him, no, she's not going to go out there today. You going to do it. And I was able to lay back down and go to sleep. You need to allow yourself to receive from yourself and realize a lot of women won't do this for themselves, but chase men to make them feel like they're obligated to take care of them. Now, men are raised feeling that they need to be the provider for their household. But what ends up happening is these women that are very self-sufficient, independent, non-take-caring of themselves type women, they'll have an attitude with a man that is caring and willing to take care of them, because they feel like what you want, and they become very mouthy towards these men that are actually trying to bless them by making it easier on their lifestyle. And it's saddening for the man, because they really want to be a blessing to the person, but this type of woman was not willing to be a receiver of that blessing. So it ends up being a problem. But if you care for yourself and the things of yourself that you want a man to do for you, then you find that the man is drawn to you and will do these things without you even having to ask. I was listening to a minister the other week, and he made the point of saying, when you make room for this stuff to happen, then you will receive what you have made room for. Anything that you make room for in your life, you will receive it. So if a woman is desiring to become married and she is not making room for a man to help her, take care of her, to take care of the household, to do the things for the house and the life that she is desiring to build, then why does a man need to come into it? What the Lord will do is test you in the areas in which you desire to see manifestation in. But if you don't make room for that to happen, meaning if you won't take care of self to the degree at which you desire for a man to take care of you, and allow that the Lord will lead you into the places, spaces, and situations that will allow you to be able to take care of you to that degree, then when a man comes into your life that is wanting to take care of you to that degree, he ain't gonna have no room to do that, and he's not gonna stay, especially if his heart is to do that. But then you sit up there and complain that there ain't no good men out there, that they're still there. You didn't make room for them. But until you are ready to take care of yourself, you know you won't ever be able to receive someone else taking care of you, doing for you, being there for you, or loving you. And realize that loving you and the love that you deserve to be loved, be blessed, and to see how the rest of the world will flow once you allow you to love you. Allow yourself to take care of self. Take a self-care day. Take time to do your own hair. Take the money, if you have the ability to, and go on vacation with yourself. take the time and the ability. If you had the ability to go get your hair done, go get your hair done. Get the hairstyle that you always wanted to get. If you have the ability to do a self-care day and go get your nails done, go get your nails done. If you have the ability to do all of it, do all of it. If you have the ability to go spend time with your girlfriends, go spend time with your girlfriends. If you have the ability that you just take time to relax and breathe, you literally are making space within yourself to receive. Because the energy that you carry when you do not rest, you do not take care of self, and you just work, hustle. There is an oppression that presses you down as you try to fit into that containment that you have given yourself. Nothing else can fit in there because you have compressed it to the degree that you have no room. But when you relax, I'm hearing that old clip from Different World. Relax, relate, release. Relax, relate, release. That when you allow yourself the ability to have that moment of relaxation and release, then you will be able to see the manifestation of what you're desiring in your life in every area of your life. But you have to be willing to take the time to oneself. Make the time. Schedule the time if you have to. But when you take that time for self, you will end up walking into the fullness of the manifestation of the blessing in which you fully desire. Relax, relate, release, rest, reset, do whatever it is that you need to do in order for you to fully walk into the manifestation that God has for you. I thank you, and this is Taj McCameron for Love, Faith, Peace, and Blessings Ministries. Until next time, bye-bye.